Hi everybody, this is Rick and I want to welcome you back to In Layman's Terms. So first of all, I apologize for this being only my second episode, and it's been a long time since the first one was on here. But the fact of the matter is, there really hasn't been anything for me to really talk about or anything that I've really been riled up about to where I felt the need to make a video response. Until today. So I want to talk to you guys about gun control and my thoughts on it. Now, apparently this is a touchy subject for a lot of people. I don't know why. Apparently talking about making rules for something deadly is something people don't ever want to go ahead and discuss. I don't particularly understand that. But because of a post I saw on Facebook this morning, I really got riled up by it, by the things people were saying, what people were kind of saying back to me, and just the overall thought of the particular individual and the individuals that were agreeing with his particular stance. So I want to take the opportunity to tell you guys the situation on what it is that was said, what my response is to that, and then just give you guys an overall view on my opinions on gun control, just to wrap a bow on it, put in a nice little package so that you can take this video and you get a full understanding of who I am and what I stand for. That being said as well, as you'll notice, my room is a complete mess, for which I apologize. I am in the process of moving and things are just all over the place right now. But I feel that it's extremely important that you guys see me, that you see my face, that I am here talking to you one-on-one, face-to-face, whatever the situation is that you want to go ahead and call it, and that you can associate me with the things I want to say, and that I can be held accountable for the things that I say. With that being said, let me just kind of give you a little background on myself so that you know where I'm coming from as we go into this. Now, I'm originally from Kentucky. I was born to a lower white middle-class family. I've been in Montana for the last 4.5 years attending college. I've since graduated from college. And I like Mortal Kombat, Quentin Tarantino movies, and Power Rangers. So you would think with that background that I would be a strong proponent of the Second Amendment. I would be a Republican. I would be for more guns for more people and stuff. But I hate to break the news to you guys, but I'm a Democrat. I vote Democrat all the time. And I would label myself as liberal progressive. Yeah, that's what I would go ahead and call myself. So whenever you hear my opinions, I want you to keep that in mind, that a person who spent most of his entire adult life, or if not all of it, in red states and likes violent programming, I'm against the gun laws that we have, and I think we need tighter restrictions. We need common sense gun laws, and we need to make it harder to get guns. I mean, people assume that because I like these violent programs that I myself like guns and I like to shoot things and I like being violent. That's not the case at all. There's a thing about constructive violence, and I don't believe that what people are saying about guns and what they believe is anything constructive on my end. And you know what? The Second Amendment? So what? I don't care about the Second Amendment. There are far more important amendments that I care about. There are far more important laws that I care about. And the Second Amendment really doesn't mean anything to me, okay? Yes, I've read it. I know what it means. It does not apply to me because I have never once used a gun. I never intend on using a gun, and I do not allow guns in my home, nor will I ever allow guns in my home. I just do not want anything involved with it. That's the simple fact of the matter. Okay, so with all that out of the way, what got me all upset in the first place? Well, so the school I went to is Montana State University, again, which I graduated back in December. But I'm still part of a Facebook page called Montana State Confessions. Now, Montana State Confessions, to really sum it up, is a place where you can go and post the dumbest, stupidest, weirdest stuff ever with anonymity, where nobody knows who you are. So it's posted online and people can respond to it. So if you got a bad situation to where you need help, but you don't want the other person knowing or other people knowing, you can post that on there. If you just want to say the dumbest piece of crap ever and get a rile out of people without it being traced back to you, you can go ahead and do that. Some people, I understand why you need that. Other people, I think they're just being cowards, and I do think the person in question here is a coward. Which, again, why I want to show my face, because this person, I don't know who it is, and good luck trying to figure out who it is. Anyway, the point I'm going to go ahead and make is that this person, he, she, whoever, posted up on the confessions page today that he is surprised that as an individual with a concealed weapons license, that he is allowed to take his gun to the mall, to the movie theater, and the church, but he's really upset by the fact that he can't take it to the classroom. Yes, this person is upset that he cannot take his concealed weapon to the classroom with him when he goes to school. And that he suggests that everybody support him in getting concealed carry, open carry, whatever, on Montana State University, and go join the Facebook page. Now, aside from the shameless promotion right here, I do not agree with this individual at all, whoever it happens to be. One of the wonderful things about Montana State University is they do not allow concealed weapons on campus. I believe that to be a good thing. I love that because I feel safe when I'm at the university, or when I have been at the university. In 4 years of college, excuse me, 3.5 years, in 3.5 years of college, I've never felt unsafe on campus. And when I first came to Montana State, I actually visited in 2007, and when I saw that it said, no concealed weapons and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, finally, some place that gets it. So I really like that. But this individual thinks it's unfair that he can't carry a gun on campus. Why? Why do you need a gun on campus? Why is it that when you're packing for your stuff on Monday, you're like, okay, do I got my laptop, do I got my cell phone, I got all my pens, what else am I forgetting? Yes, I need my gun for class today. Why do you need your gun for class? Why do you feel the need to keep it in there? I would like an explanation from somebody. Now, people have actually tried to defend this by saying, well, what if somebody attacks a school? Then you have somebody that can attack after him. First of all, I always found that to be a BS argument anyway. The only thing to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Yeah, I don't particularly believe that. And yes, I have seen that there are cases where a good guy with a gun has won. But those are rare and far in between, and the person who's shooting the gun, the aggressor in the first place, will sometimes end up dead. Which, I am appalled at the loss of any life. A lot of my beliefs actually go back to Batman. Yes, before I was actually interested in Power Rangers, Batman was one of my heroes. And there are two rules in which Batman always follows, and has followed through most of his incarnations. One is to never use a gun. Why? Because a gun took the life of his parents. Okay? Two, never take a life. So as you can tell, me owning a gun would not be a good idea because I don't believe in having a gun. And of course, the only purpose of a gun is to end someone's life. That's how I feel about it. You want to say you want to use it for defense? Yeah. But you're going to take somebody's life to defend because everybody's shoot and kill. Nobody shoots to disable anymore. It's always shoot to kill. That's what cops are taught. That's what people are always taught, is to shoot to kill. All right, I'm getting off topic right here. I don't understand why this person wants to have a gun in school. Why do you want to have a gun in school? In the off chance this turns into a Virginia Tech shooting and whatnot, I can understand that to a degree. But you having a gun is not going to help the situation at all. You can disable a person with a gun without a gun. People have done it. It can be done. A gun does not make it any better or any worse. Again, if a Virginia Tech is being pulled over on campus, you having a gun is not going to make things any better or worse. Now, if there's law enforcement with weapons, yes, that's fine. Because you know what? They are trained and certified, and they are deemed by the state and the government to have these weapons. That we say, yes, you can have them to protect us. Okay? That's fine with me. But any random person in a classroom who thinks they want a gun while they're in lecture, why would you need it? If you take out somebody coming in to attack you, if you say, if there's no Virginia Tech thing, and just on a day-to-day basis, why do you want to take a gun with you 5 days a week to class? What are you going to do with it? just hold on to it and hope that somebody attacks so you can go ahead and use it? What if, I mean, I've been through 3.5 years of college and I never had once gotten into a physical altercation, a fight, or anything in which I would need a gun or any reason to defend myself at all. And there are thousands and thousands, maybe millions of students around the world who've never had that particular issue. And yes, there have been issues where there have been guns at school and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think situations like Columbine, Virginia Tech, Sandy Hook, anything like that would have been benefited by having another person with a gun there. I don't believe that at all. And you can criticize me for that, but that is my personal belief. But we will never know because, well, we'll just never know. That's just how history goes. I mean, why do you want a gun in class? And also, why do you want a gun at the mall? Why do you want a gun at the movie theaters? Why do you want a gun in church? Church of all places, which is supposed to be a peaceful place. You think it's necessary to have a gun there? I mean, is that what it is? Is it necessary? And that's why I want to try and separate right here. Because people say Second Amendment right. They think they need a gun. No, there's a difference between having the ability to have one, the government won't stand in your way, and I need a gun. Needing a gun has nothing to do with the Second Amendment, okay? You don't need a gun at the movie theater. You don't need a gun at church. And you certainly don't need a gun at school. So why would you need it? Give me a reasonable answer. And again, don't give me an answer about somebody attacks it. That has never happened at the history of Montana State University. Has anybody come in and started shooting at people with guns and stuff like that? Give me a legitimate reason why you want to have a hidden gun. That's because that's what concealed means. It's hidden from other people at Montana State University or any school. I would like to go ahead and know. And if you say you need a weapon to protect yourself, well, what's wrong with a knife? What's wrong with a baton stick? What's wrong with a taser? What's wrong with a can of mace? What's wrong with your hands? Why can't you use your hands? Take taekwondo, take karate, take judo, take some sort of self-defense class. If you are that frightened that somebody's going to go ahead and hurt you, why don't you get something that's non-lethal to hold somebody off? Heck, my favorite Ninja Turtle is Donatello, and what does he have? A bow staff. Really hard to kill somebody with a stick. But if Donatello had a gun, well, we wouldn't have a series because Rocksteady and the Shredder and all them would be dead. But I digress. So that's the thing that kind of got me riled up, is I don't understand why this individual thinks it is necessary. Who goes wishing, I wish I had a gun today for school? Although I suppose the person who's wishing they had that wishes they could shoot up the teacher if he doesn't give them a good grade. Just a theory. Could be slander, could be libel, whatever you want to go ahead and call it. But I imagine the person who wishes they had a gun at school is the same person who wishes they could use it at school. But let me tell you guys what my overall thoughts are on gun control and what I think we should do as a country. And I think we need to pass some laws. We need to get some things out there to make things safer. First off, I think that if you want a gun, you should get a license to have a gun, not just to conceal it, but to own one. You have to take a training course of some kind, pass a test of some kind, and you have to pay for the gun. Today, I had to go get my car renewed on my license and tags. I did that. I had to pay for it. So why can't, if I want a gun right now, I can go to the store, probably have to wait a couple of days to go ahead and get it, and then it's mine, no problem, just got to run a background check and stuff like that. But I think it should be, I go to the store, get the gun, fill out a bunch of forms, have to go take a class, get my license, pay for my license, then go get the gun. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. I mean, it's like, don't give convicted felons guns. That's a reasonable request, don't you think? And if you really want a gun, well, you should go ahead and pay for it. And you know what we can do? We can use that money that you use to pay for your gun's license, or your license to even have a gun, or the cost it takes to take a class, to go back into the community. Makes sense. You know, everybody's complaining about higher taxes and stuff, but they want the roads fixed. So why not charge people to own guns? Charge people to get a license, to take classes and stuff, and use that money and stuff. I guarantee you it would make it a lot harder for people to get their hands on guns, don't you think? And again, people say Second Amendment right, that would infringe on their Second Amendment rights. No, you can still own a gun. It's a lot harder to where if you really, really want it, you can get it. But you have to put the work in for it, much like a car. If you want a car, which is mainly a vehicle of transportation, but can be used as a deadly weapon if you drive into somebody, then why can't you do that with a gun? And then background checks. I mean, I've been hearing all these stories and stuff, you know, about how people will get a gun, but they've been arrested for gun violence things, or there was a felony, fell through the cracks, and all this kind of crazy stuff, that they somehow got their hand on a gun, and then they went and did something with it. I think background checks, they should do a background check on every single person that wants a gun, and it should be extensive. Not just look over for 5 minutes on whatever and stuff, you know, take a week or two to look into that thing. And that should be everything from a handgun to an assault rifle. And actually, while we're on assault rifles, let's talk about that too. I think they should ban assault rifles, automatic and semi-automatic. Why do you need an AK-47? Why? Why do you need an automatic rifle at home? Why? What are you shooting? Are you going to take that thing hunting? Are you going to put 100 bullets in a deer to bring it down? The only reason you would need an automatic assault rifle is if you were doing something illegal or you were in the military, or both. Because, you know, that's what the military has been doing in recent decades. But I digress. Seriously, what do you use an AK-47 for? You know, I can at least understand you got a handgun to keep it by the bed in case intruders come in. I get that. I get that. But to have an AK-47 in your gun case, so in case intruders show up, I mean, a guy shows up and you're going to put 100 bullets in the guy. And you're upset that they are not allowing you to have automatic rifles, and that you have to deal with semi-automatic. Or, goodness forbid, you have to load it yourself. Why? Why do you need a gun that big? Why do you need something like that? Short of an alien invasion, why do you need a gun that has that many bullets and is that big? Handguns, hunting guns, okay, I can probably get behind those on why people have them. And hunting, to me, I don't understand the point of hunting. You have food. If you want deer meat, you can go buy deer meat. I don't know why you gotta go shoot a deer out in the forest. But I digress on that too, because this is not what we're talking about. It's not about hunting. If you want a hunting rifle, go get it. But again, why do you need an assault rifle? Look at the name, assault rifle. Who are you assaulting? You're not defending, you're assaulting somebody with that. And again, if you're fighting in the military in a foreign war that we shouldn't be involved with, then yeah, I can understand why you have those. But for a normal, everyday person, you don't need an assault rifle to put 100 bullets in something. So I don't think those should be allowed. Also, there are 3D printers that allow you to make guns which cannot be traced and are unregistered. Yeah, that's a thing now. FedEx and UPS have said they will not ship the components to build a 3D printer and allow you to make your own guns at home. And yet the NRA is stepping in and saying, hey, we need to go ahead and allow this. You need to let them have their right to make a gun that nobody can trace. Yeah, I mean, you have 3D printers and stuff like that, but if you want to make a gun, same process. Pay for the gun, pay for a license, go through a training course, and have it registered with the government. I think that's what you should do. You should register these, because I think it's important to know if you have one gun in the house or 17. That seems to be something that I think is necessary for a lot of people. Excuse me. I also think the NRA needs to stop getting involved in public education. Now, I heard this story on the Young Turks where in South Carolina, the NRA wants to kind of step in and teach students, or I don't think they want to teach, I think they want to fund, I'll have to clarify that, but they want to go in and spend 2 weeks on teaching the Second Amendment to children about guns and gun ownership. Really? You want to go teach them about guns, about how important the Second Amendment is? Maybe we should teach them about freedom of speech, or inhumane torture, how that's not allowed, and you know, double jeopardy and all these other things. I can't believe I'm blanking on these. But why don't we go in and tell them how Guantanamo Bay, we're doing illegal things and torturing people down there, how that's cruel and unusual punishment. That's what I was looking for, cruel and unusual punishment. Or talk about police brutality and how there's a problem with that. Why do you want to spend 2 weeks in a South Carolina school to tell them, you know, hey, you have to, you know, have a gun. It's your Second Amendment right. You know, you can go ahead and have it. Now, I'm not a parent yet. I have a little girl on the way. And you know what? If somebody at a school, wherever I am, says, we're going to teach your daughter about, you know, gun rights and how it's her God-given right to have a gun and stuff like that, I would pull her out of that class. I pull her out of that school as soon as possible, because I will not allow that type of propaganda to be taught. If you want to teach about the Second Amendment, spend as much time as you do on the civil rights movement. Yeah, it's a little bit surprising. When you're in high school, at least where I went to high school, we spent maybe a couple days on civil rights and glossed right over that. In some cases, we didn't even get to civil rights stuff because the textbook didn't go that far. I digress, though. The point of the matter is, if you're going to teach it to them, don't spend 2 weeks talking about how glorious amendment it is and stuff. Talk about people abuse this kind of thing, you know? And we need to prevent them from abusing it. And of course, if the NRA is funding it, it's going to be pro-guns and not negative guns. Where is the anti-gun group in this country anyway? I'd like to know who they are so I can go ahead and join them. I seriously like to go ahead and do that. Something else that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and there's a news story that I will post down in the comments section because this really riled me up. There was a guy who I think it was in DC, was trying to go ahead and sell what was called a smart gun. Now, the smart gun basically is it's a gun itself, and there's a wrist device that you would go ahead and wear. And you cannot shoot this gun without the wrist device. So if I had the wrist device and I gave it to my wife and she tried to shoot it, it would not work. It would only work if it was within close proximity of the wrist device, the person who wears it. And I'm like, that's a great idea, because you know what that will do? That will prevent little children getting guns and blowing their heads off. Because how many times have you read that a 2-year-old in Kentucky, oddly enough, blew their head off, or their sister or their brother or their parents' head off because they got a hold of a gun they shouldn't have? Or was that woman, 22-year-old woman, Walmart, had a gun in her purse, her kid took it out and shot her to death? I bet if she had a smart gun, that wouldn't have happened, would it? Or the family that was in the hotel, girl gets in, shoots her mother, and it goes through her and hits her father? Yeah, if you had a smart gun, you wouldn't have that problem. But apparently, this gentleman who was selling these smart guns is no longer doing it. And you want to know why? Because he got death threats. Let me repeat that. A man selling a smart gun, which is safer than a normal gun, is getting death threats for selling it. Because people are saying it infringes on their Second Amendment right, and if you sell this gun, I'll burn down your business. I'll come shoot you. You'll pay for this. Those were some of the things that were said to him. What kind of idiot are you to see something being sold that is safe, or at least safer, and you disagree with it? Seriously. I mean, are you the same kind of person that says, that car, you're selling that car with extra seatbelts? I'm going to send you a death threat because I don't think you should have extra seatbelts. You should be able to buy a car without a seatbelt because you should have the right to kill yourself in an oncoming collision. I mean, that's the best I can come up with there. He just wants the right to kill people. I mean, why do you send death threats to somebody who's selling something that is intended to be safer than what's on the market? And they got to this guy. He stopped selling it because he was bullied into it. We bully people into selling something dangerous and not something that's safe. I mean, give me one good reason why a smart gun is not a good idea. You know, I mean, because then in that particular case, if somebody does attack you, all you gotta do is knock the gun away, and nobody else can fire it. That gun is useless unless it's next to the band that somebody is wearing. I just don't get it. I mean, just because you have the right doesn't mean you should say that. I mean, it doesn't mean you should do that, okay? I mean, okay, First Amendment right is freedom of speech. But you can't yell fire in a movie theater because it's clear and present danger, okay? Giving somebody the right to an AK-47 that he made off a 3D printer that can't be traced by anybody, that to me is a clear and present danger. Not running full and complete background checks on people who want guns, that is a potential clear and present danger, or something along those lines. I mean, why is it that we have to allow people to have guns so quickly? Why can't we do our due diligence, make it harder to get a gun so that people who really want it? I mean, I tell you this. I said somebody years ago that I think what they should do, instead of you going to 15 different websites and requesting 15 different applications for schools, right? Because that's what I was doing. I did application stuff. I just like write out this one to UCLA, send it out. Write this one out to Florida State, send it out. Write this one out to Hawaii, send it out. What I suggest is like make a universal website for every college institution in the United States where you enter all your information and submit it all at once. You can send out to 5 or 6 schools at the same time. That way you don't waste your time writing these applications. My friend thought it was the dumbest idea they've ever heard. Don't know why. But one of the reasons that she had stated was because you should make people work hard. If they really want it, then they have to go get the application. They have to write it. They have to do all that extra work to send it in. Now, in the particular case of college applications, I don't think that that's a good way to go ahead and put it, because I think you should be able to get education, should be free education for college, all that good stuff. But in the case of a gun, I think we should make people work extra hard for it. I think, again, if I want a gun, I should go pay for a class, get certified, get trained, do all that good stuff before I even think about getting it. And then when I do get it, I have to pay for it, wait for a background check to go on through, and then have it. And then I would have to renew every year my license to have a gun. And if I don't renew it, I have to face some sort of penalty. I mean, a police officer will pull you over and can write you a ticket of $125 or more, depending on where you live, for not having your license and registration up to date, or not even having insurance. And actually, that's another thing too. Let's say you have to buy insurance for your gun as well. So if something happens, somebody gets killed, you have to be held accountable, whatever, that kind of stuff. Because again, that just makes it harder, and that's common sense kind of stuff, I think. Don't you agree that it's common sense that you have to, do all this stuff to get it, and then we can better track it. We can use that money to help the community, to help people and stuff like that. And people who are dirt poor and all that kind of stuff, they can't afford a gun and stuff like that. I mean, because you hear about these people, again, in Kentucky, poor families stuff. I'm not done putting all poor people down and stuff like that. Although I am going to stress Kentucky because I've been there and I've seen some crazy stuff and I've heard some crazy stuff as well. My overall point that I'm trying to go ahead and make is that I do not agree with concealed carry, open carry, anything like that. I don't know why people feel the need to have a gun wherever they go. I have never had a gun. I've never felt unsafe. I've been to Detroit in the middle of the night after a football game. Nothing happened, and I never felt unsafe. Okay? I've been to Chicago during the middle of the night. Never felt unsafe. Been to Los Angeles in the middle of the night. Never felt unsafe. I've been to these big cities. I've been to crime areas and stuff like that. Never had a problem. Never felt unsafe that I needed a gun. I don't know for other people if that's a psyche thing or whatever and stuff, but if you feel the need to defend yourself, find a way other than guns. Take the extra time to learn karate, because I tell you what, if you come up to somebody who wants to mug you and you know karate, if you're a second-degree black belt and all that kind of stuff, I think he'll leave you alone. But these are all my opinions. This is what I think. This is the things that I believe. And I just think that we can save a lot of people's lives. We can, do things that are common sense for people if we just make it harder to get a hold of guns. I'm not saying take away guns. If you want guns, go ahead and have them. Just not assault rifles, because there's no practical reason why you would actually need one. But if you want your handgun, you want your hunting rifle, fine, go ahead. But we're going to charge you out the butt for that. We're going to make you go through all these tests and all these papers and all this red tape to go ahead and get it, because that's how difficult it should be to get one of these. And if you are denied, it should be denied for a good reason, whether you're a felon, you have mental disorder, things like that. Okay? But to end this, I just want to say to the guy who posts on Montana State Confessions, who hasn't given a name and you want me to join this organization, I will not join your organization. I like things the way they are because I feel completely safe on campus, and I want other generations of people to feel safe on campus. I want gun regulations passed that make sense and make it harder for people to get guns so that myself, my wife, and my future daughter will all feel safe and never have to worry about some idiot who's got a gun and gets angry and starts shooting people or has a concealed weapon and an accident happens and all this other kind of stuff. Education is key, and that is going to be the bottom line here is we need to educate people on this as well. So I know I'm all over the place, whatever, but when I get passionate about something, this is how I get. Check out any of my Power Ranger vlogs on the things I get passionate about. But I think I've said my piece. I don't think I have much else to say. If there is something, I will do a follow-up video on this, but I want to thank everybody for listening. I just hope that if you are going to comment that you have constructive criticism, constructive comments and stuff, and don't just put because I have a Second Amendment right. That's an excuse, not a reason. And intelligent people give reasons. Dumb people give excuses. That's what I will leave with. So thank you all for listening. Have a good evening, and see you later.